Hello and welcome to Sproutlogic Gardening. My name is Mike. Today we talk about AI and the raw truth that it has actually been amazing as a garden assistant for me and helped me throughout my gardening journey. And I'm going to show you today how to use it in a couple different ways to help you as well. So let's take a look together. Okay, so let's talk AI. I imagine this is probably a touchy subject for some people, and I also imagine a lot of you are tired of hearing about it. That's all we hear about in this day and age: AI, AI, AI. Everything is AI. Add it to your work, add it to your home, add it to your dog and cat. It's all over the place. And honestly, it also makes a lot of noise when it comes to it, right? Like it's just so much information. What do you do with it? However, I'm encouraging you to look at this from a different lens, as I did. So I decided months ago to start using it for a different thing. What about gardening? How can it help me with gardening? Let me tell you, there are so many things we're leaving on the table by not using this. Some platforms have it, some apps have it, sure, but this is different. We're talking about personalizing it for you, your garden, your location, your weather, whatever. I'm gonna walk you through how to do that. So we'll cover a couple of different things today. The first thing we're going to cover is building your own GPT, which is essentially your own chatbot, all about you and your garden. Now, one disclaimer, this particular thing we're going to work on will require you to have a paid version of ChatGPT. That subscription will be based on the things you need. For example, and I might be wrong on the price here, I think for kind of the more advanced version, it's like 20, 25 bucks a month, and that really should be sufficient. Now you're saying, oh, it's 25 bucks. Like, is it really worth it? Well, if you save a plant, that's $50 from the information you get from this, or you properly plan out your planting and your timing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably saved me a couple $100 in mistakes and issues, and helped me kind of expand my knowledge and things I can do with my garden. So I would argue, yes, it's worth the money. So you'll notice on my screen some things are blurred out, obviously. I have some personal GPTs I'm working on and things, so we want to make sure it's focused to what we need to do. On the left-hand side, you will see an option that says GPTs, and then there's an option that says Explore GPTs. You will need to click that. Then on the screen here, we're going to go to Create. And so right off the bat, you're going to notice two things. Your window kind of gets split in half. You have a preview of the model you're creating. That's the chatbot. And then on the left is, ChatGPT will ask you questions naturally to help you formulate this. So I'm going to go ahead and start and say, I want to make a GPT to help me garden. Things to consider are my location. And I'm going to put I just picked a random zip code. I think this is like Knoxville, Tennessee. I want to know soil data. Now keep in mind, for soil data, it's going to pull any kind of surveys that have been done in that area. It won't be exactly to your garden. Just keep that in mind, right? Like your garden could be different based on the layout and where you live. So just something to consider. Soil data, weather, frost dates, and what will grow well where I live. So we're going to let it rip, see what happens. So it'll think for a bit, and then it'll come up with a couple more prompts. So it'll probably ask some clarifying questions, I'm guessing. So it'll kind of say like maybe, well, would you like to know this as well? Would you like to know about the cloud cover? Like it'll start going through. Now, keep in mind this initial prompt, you can be as thorough as possible. For example, what I could have put in here, and I'll add it as a next prompt when I get a chance, my garden is east facing. The more you feed this, the better it's going to be. If you're vague, you're going to get vague responses. So that is going to be really, really important. Now, these steps can take a while. It could take quite some time to think, depending on what it's trying to pull and figure out. So be patient. It's done, by the way, when it basically responds and you see this little thing on the bottom here. Instead of showing like the stop symbol, it's back to being able to let you type. So here we go. We already see some stuff coming up. So it's gathering the soil data, weather, frost dates, and what will grow well here. So it's going to treat our default location. It's going to talk about the hardiness zones. It's going to fetch weather. Now what's cool about this, I have a GPT already made that does this. when I write into it and I say like hello or good morning, it gives me a complete breakdown of what my local conditions are today. And I also will use this to keep track of tasks. So things that, I'll say like, hey, I want you to remind me about certain things. When I say that greeting, the key words, it'll prompt those reminders. Now we haven't done that yet. We haven't built it into the prompt. So it's talking about, well, let's name it. So sure, that name works. One extra piece, help like it's spell and or type of info is my garden faces east. Note this. So it'll probably say something along the lines of noted, and it now in this whole process here, it might continue to prompt us. If it doesn't, we'll just go through. So you can see right here it says updating GPT. When you make your initial prompt, this is where you can make tweaks to it. When we're done creating it, you can actually go back to this and continue to tweak and modify this as needed. So I find the easiest way to set these up is exactly this. Just go through the prompting stuff, tell it what you want it to do, tell it what you need. It's going to go ahead and do that. Now, the funny thing is when I created my initial one, it must have given me about 100 questions. And eventually I just stopped answering them. I was like, okay, this is getting crazy. You can do the same thing. And of course here it's going to probably ask me, do you like the look of this? Yeah, it looks great. So let me just show you what it does from here. And you see on the right-hand side now, it's actually giving us like a demo or a model of what this looks like. So you can see it has some initial prompts that might suggest to you, what should I plant this month in 37922? Oh, that's funny. This happens sometimes too. So we got an error message. It's AI. Again, got to take it for what it's worth. Sometimes it'll do things or have mistakes. If you keep getting errors, by the way, like if it errors out again, the best thing I'd recommend doing is kind of exiting out, coming back in and giving it time to kind of update, maybe refresh your browser. Sometimes connection issues can cause issues as well. So here we go. And now it's going to ask me, this is a very good question. What's your main focus? Vegetables, flowers, herbs? I'm going to say a mix of everything. You can change that. Of course, actually, the truth is I mainly stick to like flowers and stuff, but that's okay. We'll keep it open. These are guidelines, I should mention, right? So if I was to say just vegetables, and then I go in here and ask it a question about a flower, it's not going to go, oh, I can't help you with that. It'll still help. But this kind of stuff gives it an initial idea where to focus and look at. So for example, if I was to say, what should I plant? If I click that one option there, if I said I focus on vegetables, it'll mainly lean into vegetable data to provide to me. So let's see here. Are you primarily growing in raised bags, direct containers, combination? We'll say combo. So I won't demo much more of this for you because this is going to take some time. So let's do a little fast forwarding. Let me show you kind of what it looks like once we get to the other side of this. So I skipped ahead. I did a couple more prompts. It was roughly like 5 more. Basically, it was like, okay, how big is your garden? What are you focusing on primarily, et cetera, et cetera. I filled them out, and I do recommend you do the same. Go ahead and fill the prompts out as best you can. If it starts getting excessive, like you've done like 10, 15, 20, and still going, you could simply walk away from that. Stop responding. You'll notice like when the window was split, it was like that's and the left-hand side is where I'm going through the prompts. The right is where I could test it. Top right-hand side says create. I went ahead and clicked that. And what you're seeing now is I'm inside the prompt here, or I'm sorry, inside the GPT, and I am actually asking it some questions. So I did some demo questions I want to show you all here really quick. First question I asked is, what's the top 3 vegetables you recommend to grow now? Looked at my area, time of year, weather, etc. Even took into account my garden's east facing. I have irrigation, and it went ahead and instantly laid everything out. Now, of course, irrigation, obviously, we're not having that turned on in February. It's too cold, but still something important to note. But look at the information it's providing. How to sow it. Installing things like trellises. The varieties I need to look at. This is some key information, and arguably a huge time saver. Bonus add-ons if I want to maximize production. Do carrots, radishes. It went beyond the list to give me additional recommendations. I think that's pretty neat too. And of course, it'll continue down here if I wanted to. It can give me a simple layout plan for early spring, basically generate a map for me to go ahead and show that, which I think is pretty neat. I continued. Can I plant peppers now? Correct answer, not in ground. What you can do now is starting them indoors, and kind of going through and listing off the information I'm looking for, like varieties and warning me again, don't put this outside, of course. It'll be dead if you do. And then it starts talking about containers and stuff to be used. The next part, which is really neat that I love about it, I said, generate what a blueberry would look like in a container. No, pretty simple image, right? Show me how the layout of the soil and layers look in the pot. Now that's something a little different. So the point of this is you can actually visually generate stuff, what it in theory would look like, and then even give you breakouts and dimensions for stuff, or give you like layout. How do you put the soil in there? Well, I put the topsoil here. I put the acid stuff like mulch and things here, and then I put stones in the bottom. This is something it's really good at doing. And I go even beyond this. What I've done in the past, and I've used it in my videos, is I'll take a picture of my garden bed and say, okay, generate a layout. I want to plant these three things. What does it look like? And it'll go ahead and do it. And then I'll say, well, what do you recommend? What's the best layout for these plants to have a good success chance? It'll do it again. I'll say, give me an up top view so I know exactly where to plant things. Fires off another image. You can visualize things before they come out of the ground. It's huge. If you're planning, if you want to see what something looks like ahead of time, you have the power to do it with this. This is ChatGPT. This isn't a fancy program you're getting, or design software, Photoshop, whatever. No. This is all here generated for you when you ask the question. Keep in mind, this is tied to the paid subscription tier, of course. When it generates images, or if you make your own GPT, that's tied directly to that. But even in the free chat, you can still ask it questions. So the free version, essentially, when you sign up, is you can just do the normal chats back and forth. It won't give you images. You can't make your own GPT. Now, the advantage of the GPT, obviously, is it's customized to you. You can generate multiple chats off of that. It's reusable, etc. I think it's worth the money. 25, 30 bucks or so. Look at this. Look at the information I'm getting and the visual stuff I can get. I can literally take a picture of my garden and say, show me what this would look like in a corner of the garden here, and it could do that for me. That's huge, I think, for sure. Let's do another test. I have 4 images attached right now, and I'm going to ask it to tell me what bugs these are and what is happening to the leaves in the pictures. Let's see how this goes. The reason I'm showing you this is I've also done stuff in the past. I've taken my phone, I have ChatGPT on my phone, and I literally take a picture of a plant and go, what is this? Like, what's wrong with this? Or I take a picture of a bug. What is this bug? Look what it's doing. So the first image for the tomatoes, it looks like a tomato leaves with spots, early blight. It's predicting that's going to be blight, explains why, tells me what to do to fix it, the cause. Rose leaf, it's telling me this. Look at that, black spot disease, fungal. Same thing. Caterpillars, these are probably cabbage worms. This is what they do, damage happening, how to control them. And then this, a Japanese beetle, my personal bane where I live. They're absolutely horrendous. And I don't live in Tennessee, as a reminder. This is a zip code I just pulled randomly. However, where I live, they are also present and they're a nightmare. But look at this. Look at all the information again that we got. How long did that take? 5 seconds. 5 seconds. That's it. As gardeners, we should be using this. This is amazing. It's like having a professional gardener literally next to you. And even if you are a professional, it gives you access to information that's beyond what you normally might know or have access to the information itself. It opens up so many doors, and I think as gardeners, we should use every advantage we can get. If this thing saves you money with protecting plants or saving them from disease, it's already worth its value, right? Now, I will say one thing, and that's the I don't say the dark side, but kind of the disclaimer with AI. We all know, we've all heard it. AI lies. Now, I see it more with certain topics versus others. When it comes to gardening, I've seen it like once or twice. Other things I've worked with, yeah, sometimes it goes crazy. Especially if you're doing reporting or building stuff, that's a little different. For gardeners, we don't normally make reports. Maybe some of you do, but essentially, you'll notice it's lying because the information will be so far-fetched. Now, that's like the majority of the time. There's going to be times where maybe you'll slip something in there that'll get through, and that'll happen, of course. I do think the reward outweighs the risk by a large margin, in my opinion. I've had very little trouble with this, and when it's lied to me, it's been so obvious that I'm like, there's no way. And my advice to you, If you're unsure or your gut feeling tells you something's not right, trust it. Do research outside of this. Go to Google, punch in the topic, go to different websites, review stuff. You can also ask it for references. Give me the references. Where'd you get this information from? And then you can click through the references and read through and see if you agree with it. But that's easy ways to avoid the pitfalls that this can basically have with using it. Still, overall, I think this is a slam dunk win. If you're not using it, I recommend you use it. Again, you can start off with the free version, just do basic chats and stuff. I think even that alone is amazing. Uh, Maybe take the plunge, go for the paid version, try it out for a month and see what you think. Create your own GPT, customize it as much as you want. Remember, if I want to go back and fix things and change it, I still have the ability to kind of go ahead and do stuff. I was trying to click there. I think it's actually over here on the left-hand side where I'm able to click into the GPT and then modify and change it. You can always change it on the fly, add, remove, etc. But make it your own. Make it your garden. Tell it what it needs to know, and you'll be very, very surprised at how much easier your life gets by using this. Really hope this video helps. Please in the comments, drop any questions, concerns, thoughts, what you have about this. Let me know what you think. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. I'm a new channel, just started about a month and a half ago, and I need all the help I can get with the algorithm. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Speaking of that, that'll be something where we cover where we're putting something into a container that normally would never go there. I think it's going to be a fun video, so I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.